This is VOA News. I'm Gene Randall. The U.S. State Department admits that the special envoy for Venezuela was pranked by two Russian comedians, one of whom pretended to be a Swiss official asking about possible military action. AP correspondent Jackie Quinn has a report.
Special Representative Elliot Abrams was caught on tape, ruling out the possibility of U.S. military action in Venezuela unless that government did something crazy like attack the American embassy, but admitting to keeping the idea on the table to make the Venezuelan military nervous. A recording was made by two Russian comedians known for prank calls, one of them posing as a Swiss dignitary and Abrams speaking freely about the situation. The State Department says it's well aware of the prank and blames it on Russia's propaganda playbook and the lengths Moscow will go to prop up the regime of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. Jackie Quinn, Washington.
The U.S. is ratcheting up pressure on Turkey over its decision to buy a Russian missile system. Senior American diplomats held talks this week in Ankara to lobby against the sale under the threat of so-called grave consequences. Turkish President Erdogan, however, has repeated his plan to go ahead with the purchase. Addressing a rally Wednesday, he also indicated interest in expanding the deal to include a more advanced Russian system. There are reports that the U.S. sale of F-35 fighter jets to the Turks may now be in jeopardy. U.S. President Donald Trump says he would be disappointed if reports that North Korea is rebuilding a rocket launch site are true. Just days after he boasted of having a strong relationship with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, multiple sources say Pyongyang has restored part of a site it began dismantling after the Singapore summit last year. Satellite images are said to show structures on the launch pad at Sohae had been rebuilt between February 16th and March 2nd on the heels of the failed Hanoi summit. This is VOA News. President Trump has tossed out another of his predecessor's Oval Office actions, one that required the reporting of civilian deaths caused by U.S. operations in non-combat areas. AP correspondent Mike Gracia reports.
President Donald Trump has struck a section of an executive order issued by former President Barack Obama that required U.S. intelligence agencies to report civilian casualties resulting from operations in non-combat areas. A spokesman for the White House National Security Council, who spoke on condition of anonymity, said the action by the president eliminates superfluous reporting requirements that don't improve government transparency. Provisions are still in place requiring the Pentagon to report on civilian casualties caused by military operations outside of combat areas. Mike Gracia, Washington.
The former head of the U.S. Central Command, retired Army General John Abizaid, went to Capitol Hill today for a confirmation hearing. He is President Trump's choice for ambassador to Saudi Arabia, a post which has long been empty. Abizaid told the Senate Foreign Relations Committee the U.S.-Saudi relationship is complicated.
War in Yemen, the senseless killing of Jamal Khashoggi, rifts in the Gulf Alliance, alleged abuses of innocent people to include an American citizen and female activists, all present immediate challenges.
Abizaid's nomination is expected to easily win Senate confirmation. A bomb and gun attack Wednesday in eastern Afghanistan killed at least 17 people, most of them construction company workers. Officials say 5 militants, including suicide bombers, staged the pre-dawn assault near an airport in the Nangarhar provincial capital, Jalalabad. More from AP correspondent Kathy Gannon.
It's not clear why they were targeted, but it would be probably because of their active involvement in the reconstruction in Afghanistan. Some of these militant groups have been very active in trying to dismantle any of the reconstruction that has been going on. They've been trying to target the infrastructure in Afghanistan.
The 9-hour siege ended when Afghan security forces managed to kill the assailants. Another 2,000 civilians have fled the embattled Syrian city of Baghouz, the last piece of territory being held by the Islamic State. About 400 ISIS fighters are also reported to have surrendered after a failed attempt to use smugglers to get them to safety. U.S.-supported forces have for some days been predicting they would shortly be in total control of Baghouz. An activist group says a prominent human rights lawyer in Iran who was defending those protesting mandatory headscarves for women has been convicted and faces years in prison. The lawyer is Nasrin Sotoudeh, who previously served a 3-year term for her defense work. The executive director of the Center for Human Rights condemned the arrest. Gene Randall, VOA News.